Go ahead.
Okay. So, we are talking today about branding, but I think Uno-san's question is a little bit different. How can we quickly sell overseas? That's a different question. No, it's different. Completely different question. It's comparing apples with oranges.
Should we discuss about the definition of brand? Probably.
Brand is just telling who you are. How can I sell quickly overseas? That's completely different. Because you can also sell something overseas by being a cost leader, for example. Could be. But let's say that actually we are focusing on brand and how brand can help us to sell overseas. I think that's part of the answer that you're looking for. It's not the entire spectrum, but how can brand help us to sell overseas? A brand is something that says something about us that is unique, and that is hopefully appealing to people overseas. So Japan has a few products and services that are unique in the world, and if we can emphasize that uniqueness by branding carefully, then we might be able to actually create more employment in Japan with customers aimed at customers overseas. So we looked at sushi. We looked at what was the other thing that we looked at? High-speed railway. Right. So the thing is, what we need to look at this from the foreign perspective. But we really have a story to tell. But we really have something unique, and not only we are unique, but also we have a product or service that is unique. Point in case, for example, sushi. Why is sushi unique? That's actually a unique product, and it's a unique extension of the Japanese culture. So, since a lot of people are selling sushi overseas, in the United States, in Europe, everybody's doing it. They're not necessarily Japanese. So the product might be reasonable, but why do people eat sushi? Just because they think it is delicious? Or do they really want to have a Japanese experience? Now, that market can only be captured by Japanese, not by anybody else. So branding yourself as as really authentic Japanese as a brand, but then following up with Japanese ingredients, Japanese trained sushi chefs, Japanese decoration, Japanese style of service. If you can do that, you can create a sustainable advantage in a market with people who are actually interested in not only eating sushi, but eating Japanese sushi with the Japanese culture, having the unique experience relative to all the other sushi out there already. But just focusing on the fact that you are authentic, that you have something that is typical of Japanese origin. So doing that could actually help Japan to create employment overseas. Another example is high-speed railway. Remember, it has to be unique. So what actually in the entire supply chain, from design all the way up until operations, where can Japan offer unique added value? I think Takai-san already mentioned it's in the engineering part. It's in the experience that we have. The fact that Japan, and it is provable. It is obviously the case that Japan has been running a very efficient, very high quality, very low accident with very little, very safe railway network, and that kind of experience is unique. Is Japan unique in developing materials? Is Japan unique in creating software? Maybe, but we need to sell it and we need to show it. But if you're going into a global market, you really need to realize that the only way to stand out is by being unique. If you are not a cost leader. And since it's very difficult for Japan with their cost structure, to be a cost leader, you have to focus on being unique and actually showing why you are unique, showing the value of being unique, and then actually delivering everything that makes you unique. Just referring back to the example of sushi, it's not only the fact that you have Japanese trained sushi staff, but you also have a shop that is decorated as a Japanese shop. You have staff that is maybe of Japanese origin, or is trained in a way that they are providing services as being that is meeting the Japanese standards. Everything in it needs to be contributing or needs to adhere to that uniqueness that you're trying to sell. So in order to break open the market, you need to identify yourself as being unique, having something specific to order and deliver on that. So that's what we need to do.
So by the way, so the Japanese animation is famous for the world.
Yes.
So Japanese say animation is like subculture, but so I don't know, but subculture can be
main culture.
Can be main culture or brand. So is this possible?
Well, actually, basically, Japanese manga could be used as a coat hanger.
I'm sorry?
As a coat hanger.
So what
Basically, Japanese manga, because it's so popular, it raises attention for Japanese culture. And Japanese culture could create awareness for Japanese products. So if you have something that you're really good at, why don't you try to co-brand it and connect your brand to manga? Start by sponsoring manga related events in the UK, for example, and position yourself, create a link between manga and your brand, so that people who are interested in manga, who could have an affinity towards Japanese culture, also recognize you as being of the same culture.
Okay, manga, and then sushi, ramen, and some other cultural material. So I mean, we could find some materials to be contents of Japanese branding. And then, so in doing the business, how we could be financially successful is not only by the content, but also as I'm always mentioning, is the negotiation to make the contents business. So negotiation should be followed, or the content should be followed. Should be following the negotiation. So how to turn the material or contents to be the least of the business. For example, to take
Your
an
product.
example from Chinese way, for example, they have the Confucianism as their cultural aspect, and they are, I don't know, still they're doing so, but they at least used to promote the Confucius school. The Confucius school is just part of the cultural
Identity.
aspect. Yeah. But actually, that is political apparatus. So intentionally, they're promoting that school, not as culture, but as the hands of the politics. So, for example, the Japanese would be able to make the sushi bar or sushi restaurant where some political discussion is taking place. then anime culture, we will set up some consortium or society where the members are actually talking about something political.